You know the feeling. It's like you've walked straight into a movie, this incredible romance that's just perfect. You finally met someone who gets you on a level you didn't think was possible. The connection is just electric, the compliments never stop, and it's all moving so fast. It honestly feels like destiny.
And then you hear those magic words. You are my soulmate. And a part of you just melts, right? You think, yes, this is it. It feels like they've seen right into your soul from the moment you met. It's completely intoxicating. It's the fairy tale.
Okay, but let's just pump the brakes for 1 second. Before we get carried away by the fairy tale, we have to ask a really important question. Because under all that perfection, something else might be going on. So is this the real deal, or is it a carefully designed trap?
Yeah, there's actually a name for this whole whirlwind experience. It's called love bombing. And as you can see, it's a manipulation tactic, plain and simple. Think of it as the first predatory phase a narcissist uses. It's a full-on strategy to get you hooked, and get you hooked fast before you even have a chance to put your guard up.
So, the big question is, how in the world do you tell the difference between being truly loved and being hunted? Well, we're about to break down the 5 biggest warning signs that separate genuine love from a manipulative trap.
Let's jump right into the first 2 signs, because they kind of go hand in hand, and they're probably the ones you'll notice first. It all boils down to 2 things, speed and perfection. The whole thing just feels way too fast and way too perfect.
Okay, so sign number 1 is what we'll call unnatural velocity. Look at this comparison here. A healthy relationship is like a steady walk, right? You build trust over time. You get to know each other gradually. A love bomber, they want to sprint. They create this instant intimacy, calling you their soulmate after just a few days. If it feels less like a comfortable stroll and more like a runaway train, that is a huge red flag. They're trying to blow right past your normal, healthy defense.
And that crazy speed makes sign number 2 possible, hyper-mirroring. This is that unbelievable feeling that you found your literal other half, the person who is exactly like you.
So here's the trick. A manipulator doesn't fall in love with you. They study you. They learn your dreams, your secret fears, your weird little hobbies, and then they perfectly reflect all of it back at you. It creates this incredibly powerful soulmate illusion, making you feel more understood than ever before. But you have to remember, it's an act. They're just playing the role of your perfect partner.
Okay, this is where it gets really dangerous. The next part of love bombing isn't just a mind game, it's biological. It is literally designed to get your brain addicted to them.
This brings us to sign number 3, and it's something called intermittent reinforcement. The easiest way to think about it is like a slot machine. First, they overwhelm you with affection and praise. That's the jackpot. Your brain is flooded with dopamine, and you feel on top of the world. Then, just when you're hooked on that feeling, they pull it all away. They go cold, cruel even. Your brain freaks out, craving that high. And just when you're about to give up, they give you a little crumb of affection again, a small reward. That relief is so intense, you get hooked on the cycle itself.
And that cycle of abuse and reward, it creates something called a trauma bond. As you can see, this isn't love. It's a powerful psychological addiction to an abuser. You literally become conditioned to put up with the terrible lows just for a tiny chance of getting that amazing high back.
So how does a manipulator keep this whole thing going? Well, their next move is a masterclass in deception. They disguise their need for control as deep, loving care. What looks like affection is actually surveillance.
And here's sign number 4, weaponized attention. Your phone is just constantly blowing up with texts like these. At first, it's super flattering, right? Wow, they're always thinking about me. But take a closer look. A text that says, "I miss you" at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday isn't always about affection. A lot of the time, it's a check-in. It's a way to monitor your every move. This constant stream of messages does 2 things. First, it makes you feel like you have to be on call 24/7. But more sinister than that, it isolates you. By taking up all of your mental and digital real estate, they leave you with no time or energy for your friends or your family. You know, the people who might actually say, "Hey, something's not right here." You end up losing what you could call your mental sovereignty. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most twisted warning sign of all. I call it the burden of perfection. This is when they put you on an impossibly high pedestal. And let me tell you, that might feel good for a minute, but it is a long, long way down.
They don't just admire you, they worship you. You're perfect.
You're a goddess. You're the only one who truly gets them. This is a massive trap because they're not in love with you, the real, messy, human you. They're in love with a fantasy they've created. And the second you do something human, make a mistake, have a bad day, you fail to live up to that impossible standard, and they will make you pay for it. That fall from the pedestal, it's not a matter of if, but when, and it always, always hurts.
So, after going through all those ugly red flags, let's talk about the good stuff. What does real, healthy, authentic love actually look like? How does it feel different from this manipulative illusion?
This slide really says it all. Love bombing is a destructive forest fire. It's super intense, burns hot and fast, and leaves a lot of damage. But healthy love? That's a slow burn. It's steady, it's safe, it's comfortable. It doesn't demand perfection, it respects your boundaries and loves your flaws. It doesn't need to be a constant explosion because it's built on something real.
So what's the most important thing to take away from all of this? It's simple, but it's everything. Trust your gut. That little voice inside you that says, something feels a little off here. Listen to it. It's your single best defense. Because real, lasting love doesn't need to overwhelm you to prove it's real. It just is. Steady, quiet, and true.
And I want to leave you with one final thought. So often, these patterns are only crystal clear when we look back on them. So I'll pose this question to you. If you've ever been through something like this, what was that first little thing that made you pause? What was the first red flag you noticed? Because sharing those stories, those gut feelings, that's one of the most powerful ways we can help each other see these traps for what they are long before we get caught in them.